Episode 17. I got a special guest coming back on. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Well, TJ, I'm glad to be back on. And if you know, once again, this is TJ with Chris Velasco podcast. And we got a lot going on here, TJ. I'm going to talk about what I do later on. But you and I have a lot to talk about with the NFL, playoffs, surprises. So I'm letting you're running the show. So what's the first topic we're going to be talking about?
Well, as y'all know by now, I like to give my guests 5-10 minute ether segment, go off about anything. So, Chris, go ahead, go off. What you want to talk about? What you want to get off your chest?
You're the one. You're the conductor here. You throw it out, and I'll start going off on it.
Let's talk about you. Just talk about this Shedeur Sanders thing, the conspiracy. What you feel about that?
Well, earlier we heard, from Dion, but he's going to be sort of the kingmaker, but he's going to have an input on where these guys are going, aka, Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, and lo and behold, we just found out. Oh yeah, Shedeur Sanders, one of who's considered one of the top quarterback prospects of the draft. All of a sudden, it's like, oh yeah, he's going to be invited and accepted to the East-West Shrine Bowl. That's going to be January 30th at AT&T Stadium, Dallas, Texas, on the NFL Network. TJ, I know you and especially Ernest Silva of the Into the Lab podcast are talking about this here. Jerry loves making big swing moves. You got to wonder, all of a sudden, Cowboys are 3-7. Dak Prescott is injured.
Mm-hmm.
Mike McCarthy's on his way out, and Michael Irvin just happened to mention, hey, Deion Sanders and his son would be definitely coming to Dallas if Jerry wants it to. So is this, you got to wonder, is this sort of a conspiracy where Shedeur's like, oh yeah, I'll do this, this game here, which happens to be in Jerry Jones' backyard, which happens to be, the week of the Super Bowl. It's like, okay, this is now starting to be like they're just angling to go to Dallas, and Deion and Shedeur like, hey, Jerry, hint, we're out here. We're ready. We top 5 pick. We're ready to go to you guys. So we'll make sure that we only go to you.
Mm-hmm. So you feel like there's like one big Illuminati conspiracy, basically?
I don't, not Illuminati conspiracy, but I definitely think that Shedeur's, he can make it so that, Jerry definitely wants to get that pick, and depending how the season looks, and you're looking at the Cowboys and 3-7, Cooper Rush is at quarterback, the team looks like it's going nowhere. All of a sudden, you start wondering, hey, could the Dallas Cowboys have a top pick in the NFL draft? I mean, you look at the rest of their schedule, and it's kind of brutal. It's, they have the Commanders next, then the Giants, Bengals, Carolina. I think this is their one winnable game, maybe. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Philadelphia Eagles, Washington Commanders. Who do you, maybe at the Giants and the Panthers you favor, but everybody else you're looking at going, crap, they could lose all these games.
Mm-hmm.
So as I said, if you are Jerry Jones and you're not used to losing, and you want to blow this up, why not go with, hey, return of prime time to the Cowboys with his son? I mean, that just screams Jerry Jones, like, we're back, baby.
Jerry like 100 years old. You think he's trying to set the foundation for his kids?
He won't look at it that way. He'll look at it as, hey, I got the future. Hey, I'm bringing back, the coach who resurrected Colorado Buffaloes. Hey, I'm bringing back Coach Prime. And hey, I'm back in the news. Nobody's talking about the losing season. Nobody's talking about the first ever head coach, quarterback, father-son duo. I mean, that is Jerry Jones at his finest, where years ago he wanted to, draft Johnny Manziel, and his son basically literally talked him out of it. He wanted to draft Baker Mayfield, and his son talked him out of it. I think this is just like, no. Short of Bill Belichick agreeing, this seems like it's a Deion and Shedeur marriage that's coming along the way to Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Well, I seen somewhere where the Raiders got the number one pick projected to have the number one pick, so I don't see them picking up Shador. But
You don't know. I mean, look, it comes down to quarterbacks. So it's Cam Ward right now is supposed to be the other guy, but but right now it's the hot thing of a draft. And you look at Cam Ward and go, okay, well, where was he before this? He's an older prospect. He'll be turning 23 next year. He'll have had he's had 5 seasons of college eligibility. So is he a guy who it's a low floor, high ceiling? Is he the guy that can flourish? It's gonna be him and Shador right now. I think 1 and 2, and you're still not sure. It's gonna go into workouts. It's gonna go into which team likes what. It's gonna go into which quarterback has more upside. So who knows? But if the Raiders are in play, I'd say the Giants are in play. We definitely know that the Saints will be in play. There's a lot of teams that are going to need a quarterback, and it's like, all right, if you don't think you can get one of a second rounder in free agency, which there's not much out there in free agency, because I am convinced that Sam Darnold's going to be either transitional tagged or even come to an agreement, by the end of the year. What do you do if you're the Raiders, if you're the Cowboys? Well, maybe not so much Cowboys, but the Raiders, the Giants, a team that has no hope at quarterback, and it's like, all right, what do we do? Kick the can another year?
true. I believe this is my projection. I think the Jaguars might trade Trevor Lawrence for some draft picks because they see he ain't working with. Well, in my opinion, he was okay in college, but I believe Clemson was just a good overall team, especially that defense they had. So in my opinion, I just see the Jaguars trading Trevor Lawrence. They probably looking like we need to trade him now while he still got some value. So let's go ahead, hurry up and trade Trevor Lawrence to get some draft picks that we can use for the future.
That's going to be tough because right now we don't know, because that whole thing could be blown up. Who goes there? I mean, it's Doug Peterson's basically getting fired. Trent Baalke is probably getting replaced. So, if you're Bill Belichick, for example, do you want to get a rookie quarterback, or do you trust Trevor Lawrence because you look and go, well, he hasn't had it easy. He's had now in 5 seasons 3 different head coaches, 3 different offensive coordinators. This thing's been a freaking mess here. No. He went to the playoffs. He had a good second year. Even his 2023 season was horrible. He's been just beat up a lot. No, I can salvage him. Especially, it's a huge contract. And oh, by the way, they're building a new stadium, which they need to sell. So it's risky. It's like, if there was somebody that was, as I said, like the Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, that you felt, okay, you can't miss. These kids are going to be the definite, hit. Maybe you trade for it. But Cam Ward, Shador, you're not sure, according to a lot of people I talked to, the Albert Breers, John Vogels, who are like, nah, there's just something he's either off or they're not strong in this category, that category. So I think Trevor Lawrence stays. But that's going to be interesting. Like, that might be outside of Chicago, like the prime top job where GM is going to be open, the head coaching job will be open. You have a solid quarterback. There is talent. And it's Florida. And it's the AFC South, which is a very weak conference.
I just had my podcast with my Switzerland buddy. I said that we was breaking down the NFC South and AFC South. I'm like, no weak conferences to me. Both of them. Well, let's go ahead and move on. So we got Ether segment out the way. So let's start with the show. That was the pre-show. So as y'all know, Connor, Chris, he's a Celtics fan. I know. I be roasting them. but I'm a Cleveland dude. Everybody knows. So my Cavs 15-1. We lost to them by 3 points. You know, I think it was some cheating going on. But anyway, so yeah, so let's do a super early prediction. Chris, who you got? Let's say your top 3 teams ahead of the Eastern Conference by the end of the year, before the playoffs.
Well, I think Cleveland's built up enough lead that they'll be one of the top 3. The Celtics, to me, are the odds-on favorite.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough because you thought it was going to be Philadelphia, but they're having just chemistry issues. Joel Embiid's not healthy, not showing up on time. You look at Milwaukee, and it's like, okay, I guess that Damian Lillard and the Greek freak Giannis, they go together like peanut butter and sardines. I don't know. Orlando looks, is promising, but do they have the horses? Or the Knicks? It's like, okay, who's there? Is Jalen Brunson ready to be the stud? It's literally a 2-team race to me, and even then, it's the Celtics. I love Cleveland; they're a good, scrappy team, but it's like, all right, you have the star, which is, of course, none other than
Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell. Who's the second guy? Evan Mobley? Is it Jared Allen? He's a good two-way player, but he's not a scorer.
Darius Garland be scoring with Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, but that's once again, it's not the same when it's the Celtics and it's like you run into Jaylen Brown, you run into Jason Tatum. Oh, by the way, there is Derek White. Oh, by the way, there is Jrue Holiday. And then, you got Kristaps Porzingis. And that's 5 right there that anytime they can just go off. Does Cleveland have that? Does Cleveland have, like 2 or 3 guys where it's like, okay, we know you're going to get points. You guys can keep up. You can do this. You can step up. They're just a young team that's not there yet. They need that second star, which is always tough because you're trying to find somebody who can be like, Robin to your Batman. And to me, it's a Donovan Mitchell show. And after that, it's like a bunch of good little players who can do very good things, but nobody there is like, we could take over a game. Like if Donovan Mitchell isn't hot, this guy could take over on both sides.
I mean, yeah, but I'm at the. I get where you come from, but Derek White not really a threat. He's like what you just said. He like a player where, as y'all said, we about to debate because he tried to throw sneak disses at my class.
Derek White was on the U.S. Olympic team. That's all you need to know. Was there anybody in Cleveland that was on the U.S. Olympic team?
That's because, come on, man. They was trying to mess with Jaylen Brown, man. Come on now.
But still, he got selected. I mean, they could have selected, as you said, Darius Garland. They could have selected Evan Mobley. Look, I get it. Derek White's always going to be like the 4th man. He's Ringo Starr, which, if you follow the Beatles, Ringo was always the 4th Beatle. But look, Derek White is a guy you start looking at, and it's like, he can shoot from the perimeter. He can guard everybody. He can score inside. He can score outside. Yeah, I get it. He's the non-NBA star. This is a guy who was a JUCO transfer, then transferred to Colorado, 29th pick overall.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a 2-time All-NBA, All-Defensive second-team pick. He is a guy who can go off for 30, if they allow him to. This is a guy who last year was averaging 15 points, a steal, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, a block shot. Look, I get it. He's never going to be the star, but he is a guy that the Celtics even said if he walked off, if he went to some other team like Cleveland, he'd be the number 2 guy. He'd be there. He would be the Jaylen Brown. So,
over Darius Garland,
he's a great 4th option.
You saying Derek White will be number 2 over Darius Garland and Evan Mobley? Come on, Chris.
Think of it. Shoots 90% from the 3-point line. Shoots nearly 40% from the 3-point line. Last year, he was averaging 4 rebounds a game as a shooting guard, point guard. He averages 5 assists a game. He's able to guard small forwards, shooting guards, point guards. He's their best lockdown defender. As I said, I get it. It's not a sexy guy. He's not a first-round top 5 pick. He's not the All-American who came out from high school, went to the power conference, and then got drafted. This is a guy who played for, University of Colorado Springs, Colorado, Division II program, transferred to Colorado for one season, then got drafted by the Spurs, sat around there, even played for the Austin Spurs his first year, and every year he's gotten better and better and better and better and better. Now, as I said, 2 times, all defensive, second team in the NBA. Is there anybody on the Cavaliers who can say that they've done that? They've been an all NBA team outside of Donovan Mitchell.
Didn't Jared Allen make a defensive team?
So power forward center. We talked about that. Jared Allen, though, isn't a scorer. He's not going to be a guy who's going to shoot threes. He's not a guy that's going to stretch the floor.
Yeah, but he can defend and get rebounds.
He's a good banger, but he's not a guy that you look and go, okay, well, he's going to guard the perimeter players. He's going to be a guy who guards smaller players, and he's not a guy who shoots threes. So, as I said, the NBA, which is now all about three-point shooting, Derek White is a more effective player than somebody like Jared Allen, who, yes, he can rebound, he can score, but when everybody is playing the perimeter and shooting threes, he sort of, sticks out like a sore thumb, unfortunately.
You saying Derek White a better defender? Who y'all go with there? Drew Holiday and Jaylen Brown?
2-time. And even the league has voted, Derek White is a better defender 2 times. Second team, all NBA defensive player.
Chris, bro, just go ahead and just say you trolling, bro.
I'm not. If you think of it, if he wasn't this good, why the hell would the NBA Olympic, the U.S. Olympic team pick him for the team? And yes, I get it. This is also a smear bit on Jaylen Brown, but they could have picked anybody, literally anybody. They could have selected anybody, and it was Derek White.
The same reason back in '92 they had Christian Laettner all in there with Charles Barkley, Jordan, and David Robinson and Larry Bird and all them. Like, come on, man. He was on the team that won 60. What they won? 65, 64 plus wins, and they was basically coasting through the Eastern Conference. Then they won the finals. I believe they won that with ease too. I think they were just trying to make it look good for views, but. Come on, man. Of course they gonna get somebody from the team. They're the market team right now. Like, they're the most marketable team. They just won the
finals. They're a marketable team, but as I said, they could have picked anybody from the Cavaliers. They didn't. They could have picked anybody from, let's say, the Dallas Mavericks. They didn't. They could have picked Kyrie Irving if they wanted to. They could have went to Kyrie Irving and said, hey, we want you on the Olympic team.
It's a business.
I get it. Derek White's not a sexy name that rolls off your tongue and everybody goes, "Oh yeah, he's an all-star." He's blah blah blah. But I would say if you Celtics yesterday got an offer, hey, we'll trade Jared Allen for Derek White. Celtics would tell you no. They would just say flat out no. They love him over there. They view him as sort of at times their third best player because he can play the point, play shooting guard. If they really need to go small ball, he can play small forward. He can defend. He can shoot the three. He's excellent at free throws. And he's the guy who is a low ego guy, which you need on every team.
So he's like what you trying to say? He's like Draymond Green of the Celtics.
I wouldn't say Draymond Green, but he is sort of their third guy that, one of those two aren't, Jalen, or if Tatum's having a bad night, Derek White can be the guy, and he can do the dirty work. Is he Draymond Green? No, Draymond's a different kind of player. But when we talk about, the NBA now, and it's all about, hey, shooting three-pointers is a big deal. Hey, perimeter basketball is a big deal. Hey, guarding point guards, shooting, guards, and small forward is a big deal because those are usually your best players. Derek White is more effective right now than a big man. To a lot of teams, if you have a combo guard who can play three positions, that's just as important as having a guy who can just play power forward or just play center.
So, if Jaylen Brown and Jake's, because the Cavs just won the game, like 2 games, I think, without Donovan Mitchell. Okay. And y'all only beat us by 3. So we don't think, and y'all was up by 20 with the refs helping. But we going to talk about that another
All right, so you're talking as a fan. I'm talking more as an expert.
Come on, Chris.
No, I get it. Look at last year in the playoffs. And you go, as I said, you go back to Derek White. And he was instrumental. He was the guy that you would look and want to go, okay, well, hey, they need a big game. In the first 2 rounds, it was Derek White who was stepping up when Tatum's shot wasn't falling or when Jaylen Brown wasn't playing well. I get it. Look, as I said, he's not going to be the stud. He's not going to be their big player. And he was a guy that came just out of nowhere. Like you look at most of the guys in Cleveland that you talk about, it was, Jared Allen. Hey, he was part of the blockbuster trade with the Nets, first round pick, played for Texas, early pick. Donovan Mitchell, another guy, big free agent, hey, played for Louisville, 13 pick overall, all rookie team. These guys you were following from the early beginning. Evan Mobley even. First round pick, USC. These are like the sexy schools that come out 3rd pick overall. And then there is Derek White, who wasn't good enough to make any college team, didn't get any scholarship offers, had to go to Division II, worked his ass off, got to Colorado, got drafted, had to go to the rookie league, the G League, in between for a year because he was the Spurs. And yet he's blossomed into a guy that the Celtics look and go, hey, he is instrumental. Hey, he is a guy that can shoot 3-pointers when we need to make them. Hey, he's a guy who can rebound, pass, block shots. Hey, he is a guy that if we need him to do the dirty work, he will do the dirty work and not complain about it.
I can't wait for the playoffs. Chris over here talking crazy, but so you saying if the Cavs meet the Celtics in like the conference finals, y'all winning in like how many games?
Right now, about 5 games. It's a gentleman's sweep. Because as I said, who steps up from the Cavs? Who's the guy that you look and go, okay, he's going to be the number 2 guy? You laugh, but all right. Who would you take right now? Do you take Evan Mobley over Jaylen Brown? Do you take Jared Allen over Kristaps Porzingis?
I look at the Cavs like the I'm not comparing. Just listen close. The Cavs is like that 2013, 2014 Spurs team. Just listen. I'm not saying Evan Mobley is Tim Duncan and all that. They pass the ball. The Cavs are structured where you gonna have Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, or Evan Mobley. They gonna share the 2 options, but we all know Donovan Mitchell first option. When it comes to the 3rd option and whatever, it's everybody can score. Like any given night, any player other than them top 3 can score the ball. Everybody got a position. Everybody know they not Donovan Mitchell. It's like we have a team with no egos either. Because even if Donovan Mitchell go out, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, okay, one of us got to be the 1, one of us got to be a 2, and everybody else just share the ball. So even if you double team Evan Mobley, you still got Jared Allen. I hope I'm saying his name right. Jared Allen, who can get rebounds and defend. You still got Porter Jr. and Morel. How you say that? Yeah, Sam, they don't talk about. You still got players who can shoot the 3 and D players. Everybody is not. The Celtics is constructed like this. You take out Jaylen Brown. You believe just like let's say We take out Donovan Mitchell. Y'all take out Jaylen Brown. You really think Jason Tatum can carry that team?
Yes. Jason Tatum, considered one of the top 5 players in the NBA. Look, I get it. It's a nice little team you guys have. They're not built for the modern NBA in terms of look at their roster. Evan Mobley does not shoot 3-pointers, maybe once a game at best. Jared Allen doesn't even shoot from a 3. They are built like an older NBA team, which is inside outside. We will get rebounds, we will block shots. We'll rely on Donovan Mitchell to be the scorer, and then whether it's Darius Garland, whether it's Sam Merrill, whether it's Karis LeVert, or somebody else will do the second-tier scoring, and that's how we'll win our games. Well, that's great in the regular season.
Okay.
But in the playoffs, it's like all of a sudden you start looking around, and it's like the Pacers, for example, will just score at will. Can you keep up with them? Because their feeling is we will jack threes, quick shots, screw the rebounding and, inside presence. It's just quick. They will run you off the court.
The Pacers?
Yes, we saw that last year where they just literally ran teams off the court. All right, we're just going to keep scoring. Score, shoot threes, shoot twos. That's how they do it.
Okay.
You look at the Celtics, and whether you like Joe Mazzulla or not, he has embraced the modern analytics of shoot threes. The more threes you shoot, the more threes you make, the more points you score. Mm-hmm. And you look at the Celtics, and they are very content to go, all right, well, we'll hang out the perimeter, whether it's Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White, Jrue Holiday, even Kristaps Porzingis, and they'll just make threes and shoot lots of threes. And even Al Horford will hang out and shoot threes. And they understand that. Look, it's not pretty. I'm not a big fan of that as somebody who's a traditional basketball fan. I blame the Golden State Warriors because they were the ones who really brought this into the forefront. But that's the NBA now, and they look at the Cavaliers have the lowest attempts of 3-pointers in the league. I think the Celtics are just a bad matchup for them, where they will look and go, okay, keep up with us. If we make the 40% of our threes, hey, you know what? We've already outscored you by at least 15. Okay. They'll look at the Cavaliers and go, okay, Donovan Mitchell's your big star, and then it's 5 other guys. Who's gonna be basically the guy who gets 25 points a night and can match Jaylen Brown or Jrue Holiday or Kristaps Porzingis, who those guys can go off. There isn't that guy. And so if you're Cavs, it's like, okay, maybe what do you try to do? Do you try to package some of these players? Hope that Giannis gets pissed off and demands a trade. Hope that somebody from the Western Conference gets pissed off and demands a trade. Because they are the team that, the old Celtics were when Isaiah Thomas was there. It's a plucky team led by a guard. They'll score, they'll play defense, they'll play tough basketball. Then it gets to the playoffs, and whoever has more star power wins.
We gonna have to. We go back and forth all day. We got to wrap this up. Let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. That was a good debate. Even though I think you were saying something.
Well, look at last year. Before we go to the next topic, look at last year in the playoffs. It was they won the first round.
Okay.
And then after that, it was they ran into problems in the playoffs because it was like, okay, what happens when Donovan Mitchell gets hurt? What happens when? And we saw again they literally played the Celtics, and that was the same issue. It was, Donovan Mitchell is fantastic, and then when he got hurt, it got ugly because and even some of these other games, you got ugly because even if Donovan Mitchell went off, can Garland do the same? Can Darius Garland, have consistent 30-point games? Can Evan Mobley get consistent double-doubles? Can, whether it's Strus or Garland or Jared Allen, unfortunately didn't play, but somebody, as you said, could somebody come up and go, okay, we're going to match it? And look at the scores of last year's games. It was they lost first game 129-95. Second game they beat the Celtics. And then after that it was 106-93, 102, 109, 102, 113 to 98, and they got run off.
Mm-hmm.
So who steps up this year? Who's going to be the guy that goes from nice role player to maybe second NBA, all-star for the Cavaliers?
All right, man. Let's go ahead and move on. The Jets fired their GM. I don't know his name. I just know they fired him.
Joe Douglas got fired, unfortunately. So now Douglas is gone. You've had Robert Saleh is gone, and that thing is Woody Johnson is running that thing into the ground. I mean, there were reports after the fourth game this year, their second loss, he wanted Aaron Rodgers bench. So yeah, if they could, I think Jets fans try to fire the owner.
Yeah, so basically they don't fire the head coach and GM in one season. Now, usually we don't seen this in the past, but usually it's like they'll fire one, then the one after. But I guess the Jets owner, he just cleaned that house. He's just getting rid of everybody. Do you feel like this about to be a blame game, or do you feel like the Jets need to get somebody new ownership? Like, cause we know the Jets being the Jets, they're one of them teams where they're good probably once every decade. Like the last time they was really good was Rex Ryan. When they had the Rex Ryan team, Thomason, we know Reeves all there. We ain't gonna go into that past. But do you feel like the Jets ownership is ever gonna take real, let's say, accountability, or you think they just gonna keep firing people? Because you can't fight. It's like every year the Jets is always in the news for firing somebody. So what do you see the Jets' future about 2 or 3 years?
It comes down to Woody Johnson. I mean, it's funny when he's the guy who listens to talk radio.
Mm-hmm.
And then he, all of a sudden, when he hears, oh yeah, they need to fire the coach, he gets into that fire the coach mode. When he, hears, oh, we need to get a big quarterback, he's the guy who pushes for, hey, let's get this guy, let's get that guy. And it ain't good. And it's gotten to the point now where even Jet employees, from what I've heard, are just, when he comes in the office, it's like, oh crap, it's chaos because he will listen to the radio, he'll make the snap decisions, and look, it's not a good look. And it's funny when he sort of left the team, because remember he was selected as the ambassador to England back when Trump was first won his presidency. That's when the Jets started somewhat, turning things around. They started drafting a little bit better. They started building up a little bit of, better players. All of a sudden, you noticed, they got rid of Mike McGowan. They got Joe Douglas, and whether you like or hate Douglas, he drafted some good players. I mean, Quentin Williams, Jashai Polite. He brought in, of all guys, even his second draft. You look and it's like Mekhi Becton, Denzel Mims. All right, a little bit tough, but then he hits on Bryce Hall. He hits on Cameron. He gets Brian Manning with the seventh round. Then he gets Sauce Gardner. He gets his rest of his defensive line. I mean, he got the drafted party. I mean, they were able to get good players and start something. And then Woody Johnson comes in, and all of a sudden, again, hey, he's just, oh, we got to fire Robert Saleh middle of the season. Players didn't want it, but it didn't matter because that's what he had and what had for his mind. And now he fires Joe Douglas. So look, we'll be interested to see who gets it. It's a big job. It's New York, but if I'm a GM and I'm a coach, I want guaranteed big money, guaranteed multiple years to sort of protect me in case Woody goes, oh, I've listened to sports talk radio, I'm not happy, and somebody needs to be fired.
I just feel like we gonna keep this real short. Jets, I've been roasting y'all. I'm gonna have a Jets fan. I know I need to get somebody. Basically, yeah, Jets are Jets. We just gonna keep it short because we ain't gonna talk about it. Jets are Jets. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk about surprising team. The Detroit Lions on an 8-game winning streak. I just had somebody on who was a Detroit Lions fan. Y'all go check that out. What you feel about the Detroit Lions? I know they got a long history of losing, going back to, let's say, we gonna say Megatron, but really Barry Sanders era. So now all of a sudden, a decade plus later, they'll turn it around, and for the first time, they're 9-1 in history. So what you feel about the Detroit Lions?
They're not a surprise team, but I think at this point now you have to give Dan Campbell his flowers. And I know TJ, you were making fun of him back in the day when he was saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to be biting ankles," and making starting ruckus here. When they're 3-13, and you were probably mocking him, and the Lions going, "Oh yeah, the Lions are going to be Lions," but that team has bought into it. And each year it's been slow and steady improvement. They went from 3-13, but that season, they started off, 1-6, and everybody's saying they're gonna be terrible. Then what happens? Oh yeah, we have the last 6 games are 3-3, and they beat the Packers at the final game of the season. Next year, 9-8, and all of a sudden, start noticing, oh crap, these Lions are pretty good. Last year, they're 12-5. They go to the NFC Championship game. And each year, they've added pieces in their draft. I mean, you look at, when they first started out, first draft, they got Penei Sewell. Then the next draft, what do they do? Oh, they get Aaron Hutchinson.
Mm-hmm.
They get Jameson Williams. Kirby Joseph, Malcolm Rodriguez. Then last year's draft, which we got panned by the critics, like, oh yeah, what the hell are you doing here? Brad Holmes did a great job, and all of a sudden you look at that draft and it's like, holy crap, that is a home run draft when it's Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch. Those are your first 4 picks, and Pro Bowl tight end, stud running back, middle linebacker. Brian Branch might be one of the best rising young safeties in the game. They're for real. They are now the new sort of 49ers in that they are fast. It's, explosive on the running game, explosive in the passing game. They are right now the crown jewel in the NFC.
Yep. Detroit, they came a long way from them 0-16, 1-15, 2-14 seasons. So now 9-1, they won I think the top team in the whole, one of the top 3-4 teams in the whole league. It's crazy. I remember them Matthew Stafford, Megatron Day, Calvin Johnson, if y'all don't know. They used to be losing, man. Calvin, everybody used to be like, why Calvin just don't leave? I guess he was on his Barry side. He just loved Detroit. But if Calvin Johnson was on this team now, oh my God, man, they really be undefeated. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and move on. Shout out to my Detroit Lions fans. The 49ers, I'm glad you brought them up. That's a good segue. What happened to the 49ers? I mean, the NFC West, that conference was Seahawks and Chargers. No, that's Chargers. Seahawks and Cardinals and them teams over there. What happened to the 49ers? What you believe went wrong for them?
It started in the off season, and he started noticing they had the whole hubbub with Brandon Ayuk. Oh, does he want to play? Does he not want to play? What's going on? And that screws things up. Ricky Pearsall, who thank God he survived, but he got shot in the chest early in the season, or early in the preseason, a robbery attempt. There's just a lot of, sort of just malaise in that camp because of this, because of that, then all of a sudden injuries happen. And you look at right now the injury reserve, and it's Javon Hargrave, it's Dre Greenlaw, it's Brandon Ayuk, it's John Feliciano, you have Mitch Wishnowsky, their punter. and it's a punter, but still, it's like they've had so many people who have not been friggin' healthy. They just finally got back Christian McCaffrey, who that offense runs through him.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's you still wonder, like, is Deebo Samuel healthy? Maybe, maybe not. George Kittle's been banged up. Um, the secondary has had its issues. The offensive line really isn't that good outside of Trent Williams. It's look, if they get to the playoffs, you still worry because they're battle tested. They have no fear. They know they can get to the Super Bowl, and Brock Purdy is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He's no longer just a system quarterback, but it's just they're the walking wounded. It's because they are paying a lot of players, they've had to lose players due to free agency, and it's just finally, I think, catching up to them where it's like the depth isn't there as it used to be, the health of a team isn't there, and they're getting a bit old.
I said that. I remember I said that was the summer. And somebody's trying to say I was crazy. I said when you have teams like the Chiefs, 49ers, the Rams, the Ravens, I don't think the Ravens really got salary cap problem. When you have teams like anytime a team keep going to the Super Bowl or championship game every single year, you go have to pay them players. And I said the 49ers got too many big names. Debo, Chase Young, there, Bosa, Kittle. Now you got McCaffrey, Purdy. Then you got what's the middle linebacker name? They got Fred Warner. Anytime you got so many media hyped up, well, I ain't gonna say hype media. Let's say legends of their team. I ain't gonna say they're legends, but legends of their team. You going to have to pay them. So when everybody start getting old, players getting injured. You got the new up and coming guys. A lot of egos start coming into play. So then you got Brock Purdy. I'm still questionable on him. I still put him at a question mark. Yeah, he have a good run, but I'm not too high on him yet. I'm gonna have to see some more. But anytime you got a team like the 49ers where you going to the Super Bowls and you winning and media hype and what they get, new stadium, yeah, the money go run short. Players gonna start asking for trades. Then you got Christian McCaffrey getting old, Kittle getting old, Bosa getting old. They a lot of people don't realize they've been in the league for a minute. These ain't no 1 or 2 year players. Some of them like 5 or 6. Kittle like what 9 years in. Like they NFL years, you get real quick year in year out. So like you said, and the NFC West to me not even a strong conference. Everybody thought Cardinals was about to be losing again. They're at top of the conference, 6-4. Seahawks, Rams, and 49ers is all 5-5. So I said, what you feel about the conference as a whole, like the NFC West?
It's a good conference. Look, it's a full parity. Each team has something going wrong. Getting back to what you were saying about the 49ers, I think what hurts them, and this is what Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal mentioned, is you look at who they're at their top salaries, and it's Trent Williams, Charvarius Ward, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, and then DeMore Leonard. Okay, it's good, and some of those guys are getting up there, but it's still like, okay, you're paying a wide receiver, tight end, and running back big money, which to a lot of people, that's not the way you build teams. We mentioned earlier the Detroit Lions, and you look at them, and all of a sudden you start noticing they're built a little more differently. They are quarterback, wide receiver, offensive tackle, guard, left tackle, center. They're built, their feeling is we build from the inside, you go outside. That's how you build a team. That is how you pay your big players. You can always find wide receivers. You can always find running backs and tight ends. You don't pay them a lot of money. They're disposable. Kansas City Chiefs, same thing with them. It's Mahomes, this big guy. Travis Kelce's getting big paid, a lot of money. And then who is it? Oh, it's Joe Tooney. Oh, it's Chris Jones. Oh, it's their center, Creed Humphreys. Like, those are the guys who get paid the big bucks. Everybody else, the running backs, the wide receivers, their feeling is, hey, look, we have the quarterback. We can find, we can always get cheap wide receivers because they're a dime a dozen. You can always get wide receivers in every draft.
Mm-hmm.
I think the 49ers' problem has been they've had to pay a lot of their skill positions big money, so that means less money for interior linemen. That means less money for defensive linemen, and then you're kind of caught in a. That's how it's won in the trenches.
Yeah, I was just about to say that the offense and defensive line, mainly the offense, because how you gonna protect quarterback, and you have to pay. You at least have to have one good super. You have to at least have one great secondary player. Because if you're all secondary mediocre or they're just all veterans, you're not going to have a good defense. You will need at least one great corner or safety that can bring the energy. And I believe over the years, 49ers just haven't had that. I believe they be getting bailed out a lot with the inside game with the linemen and the linebackers. But when it comes to the secondary, they just be, I say getting saved a lot. Or it just be some close games that they supposed to be blowing teams out. I believe it done caught up to them now. You can't get bailed out because all your inside game players like the linebackers, the DNs, the middle, they're all getting old now. So now you have to depend on secondary. You see, oh, we can't pay nobody in secondary. We spend our money on the Christian McCaffrey's, Kittles, Purdy, Fred Warner. But yeah, no, there's a little exposure going on with the 49ers, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm going to have to go ahead and move on from their team. Last but not least, what's on the list? Jim Harbaugh. I don't see nobody talking about the Chargers. I don't know because they don't like him. Whatever the media got going on, but the Chargers are sitting 7-3. So what you feel about what he done did with the Chargers?
I called it early in the season, and Ernest, poo-pooed me. Bryce Carter poo-pooed me, but I kept telling people, the Chargers are going to be for real. You give Jim Harbaugh, who is, I'd argue, one of the top 5 coaches in the league. You could even argue in some ways he's even better than Mike Tomlin, better than his brother, better than, I even hate to say it, Dan Campbell. He is a guy can coach anybody. He just wins. It's not pretty sometimes. The style of offense kind of boring, but he will instill toughness. He will instill defense, and he's built this team to his throwback team. He has the quarterback. He has Justin Herbert, which he has said to people, this is the only quarterback he wants for the rest of his career. Doesn't want anybody else. This is his quarterback. He has even said he's the best quarterback he's coached ever, which says something because he once had, of all people, a guy out of Indianapolis who we all knew as a great quarterback. But the rest of his team, they run the ball. They had brought in Joe Alt, who was a stud right tackle. Rashawn, Slater's a good left tackle, solid left tackle. You got Zion Johnson, Trey Pipkins, defensive line. They get after the quarterback with their running backs, Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. Otio Agbonia is a good nose tackle. It's pound the ball, play defense. That's how they do it. Justin Herbert's not expected to now throw for 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, slinging the ball all over the place. Mm-hmm. They are, to me, one of the most dangerous teams in the NFL playoffs. I say outside of the Chiefs and maybe the Bills, they are my favorite team in the AFC.
Yeah, this one of them teams, like, I said that was gonna be good, but I didn't know they was gonna be 7-3 good. Like, I was just expecting and you gotta look at they're playing the Chiefs twice a year, I think.
Yeah.
Was we know they like the media hype train.
I can hear your anger, but let's face it. If you look at that schedule, and all of a sudden you go back to their games, they lost to Pittsburgh. It was a close game. Offense didn't gel. The second, they lost to the Chiefs in SoFi Stadium. Once again, one-score game. They lose to Arizona. A lot of people thought they should have won that game, but, the referee screwed up that game, and it should have been instead 15-14 Chargers. And all of a sudden, you're 8-2, and you're going, oh, crap. If the Chiefs falter, they could easily be one of the number 1 or 2 seeds. And they've had the talent. It's never been talent with them. It was, you always looked at them and went, oh, great. San Diego Chargers, Brandon Staley, he's an idiot. He will screw this team up. He will go for it on 4th and 5. Why? Because the analytics told him so. Or, hey, he'll go for it on 4th and 8. Why? Because Mr. Thimble, the guy in his thumb, said so. 2 years ago, they were 10-7. They were the second best team in the AFC West. People still thought they were going to be making noise in the playoffs. That was with the guy most people thought was not a good head coach. Jim Harbaugh, they are now getting their full potential. And what's scary is next year they'll have money to spend. Imagine if they get T. Higgins or a bigger stud at wide receiver rather than their room, which you look and you go, holy crap, I have no idea who half these guys are. Yet Ladd McKinley is a good, nice little rookie, but the rest of the wide receiver room is what? DJ Chark, Josh Palmer, Jalen Reagor, Darius Davis, Will Dissly, who is a blocking tight end in Seattle. It's like, who the hell are these guys? Next year, I think they'll even be even better.
Man, I'm calling it right though. They're gonna have a Chargers versus Ravens. Just on media be hyping up that Harbaugh stuff. I just see it coming. They gonna be talking Harbaugh Part 2. You know these sports industries need views right now. They just came out and said NBA losing viewership. We gonna talk about that another day. Anything else you want to get off your chest, Chris, before we wrap it up?
Another thing, you look at Harbaugh again. He's always won. He won at Stanford when he had Andrew Luck and a bunch of other guys who weren't NFL top tier talent, and he got them all the way to number 4 in the country and the Orange Bowl champion. Turned that team around from 4-8 to 12-1. He went to San Francisco, where they were a dog crap team, a literal dog crap team. The year before, they were god awful. I mean, people forget, when it was Mike Singletary, we were making fun of him. It was like, oh my God, Singletary's dropping his pants. Oh my God, they're 6-10. Oh my God, this team is just forever going to be bad. There's no hope, Jim. The days of Joe Walsh and Montana are done. His first year at San Francisco, they turned from 6-10 to 13-3. Harbaugh knows nothing except winning. He will literally drag teams from losing records to, hey, we're gonna be good. Because God damn it, I do not accept losing. Even Michigan, when he took over Michigan, it was holy crap. We are in tough shape. 2014 Michigan team. You're looking at him and you're going 5-7. Brady Hoke. This is not good. What happened to Michigan? They're getting killed. And all of a sudden, what is he doing his first year? Michigan 10-3, Citrus Bowl champion, and ends up literally taking Michigan to, after a couple seasons, the national championship. TJ, you and I had to now admit, if you want to turn a football program around, you hire Jim Harbaugh. That is a guy. Losing is not acceptable. It's not an option. He could take a bunch of peewees and turn them into a winning program.
Oh, look, that was the second year Jim Harbaugh. He won 13-3, right?
His first season. In San Francisco, they went 13-3 and lost to a championship game. His second season, they went 11-4 and lost to the Ravens in the Super Bowl. Then he went 12-4 the year after that and lost to the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC Championship game. And then 8-8, and Trent Baalke pulled a coup and got him out of there. But there's no more Trent Baalke. There's no more, people's, I get it. He rubs people the wrong way. But in San Diego, he got what he wanted. He is the guy in charge. Joe Horitz is basically his handpicked GM. For all intents and purposes, this is a Jim Harbaugh show. He has everything running, and you might not like him. He might drive you crazy. He might be a pain in the ass, but you know what? He will get you to win.
I never had a problem with him. Ain't that? And then he started winning though. He put Colin Kaepernick out there.
That was his second season. His first season, it was Alex Smith, where everybody thought, oh, Alex Smith is still damaged goods, and Jim Harbaugh all of a sudden turned him into a functioning, top tier quarterback. Andy Reid took it over, after he got traded, but Harbaugh's quarterback.
It was Colin Kaepernick was starting in the Super Bowl. Did he bench Alex Smith mid-season?
That was due to the concussions.
Yeah, he needs to be benched anyway, though.
But once again, that's Harbaugh, though. He is a guy who, former quarterback, understands quarterbacks, know how to make quarterbacks look good, knows how to make opposing quarterbacks look bad. He is somebody who, look, he is a throwbacks coach to its defense, its running, none of this whole, Sean McVay style where we're going to spread it out, throw it around, go crazy. This is old school football. We're going to do it. And
I'm on this. They said the first year he lost in the championship game to the Giants, who went out to win a Super Bowl. And it was 2012, hold up, where he lost to the Ravens. The second year.
He's, as you said, when he takes over programs, they win right away. He's always done that.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Chris, go ahead and tell them where they can find you. Chris.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and tell them where they can find you.
So the next, I guess here's going to be the question going forward with Harbaugh, the Chargers. What do they do going forward? Can they finish the offensive performance next year? This year, I think they're going to go far. I don't know how far, only because their offensive weapons aren't that good. But this is a team that it's scary. If this feels like Detroit when Detroit was first, coming up under Dan Campbell, where you knew they had pieces. It was just, could they see it through? That's what the Chargers are.
Okay. We're going to have okay, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Chris, go ahead and tell them where they can find you.
You can check me out at lastcallpodcast.com. I'm on Twitter, which is Last Call Chris with W Chris C. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube, Last Call Podcast. Check it out. We just dropped an interview with Marcel Dorf where we broke down UFC 309, John Jones' performance, Charles Oliveira's dominant win over Michael Chandler. And this Friday, we'll be having the band Wicked on as they'll be launching their new upcoming performance at January 23rd, all the way at the House of Blues in Anaheim. And TJ, always a pleasure being on the show.
Well, this has been TJ McKinley Podcast. We say we're going to hype on whatever we want. This is episode 17. Y'all go ahead and subscribe, like, share, comment, do what y'all go do. And thank y'all for watching.